Right. Hello guys, it's Kian. Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be doing a Christmas Q&A, not Christmas Q&A, a Christmas live stream. Well, a study with me to be more precise. So I'm going to go quickly check the audio before we get into things. Now nobody's here at the minute, so it's fine. But if you're watching afterwards, then just skip ahead a few minutes. I'm just checking the audio, make sure it's working. But yeah, when somebody joins the chat, I'll start talking about what this is going to be about. But for the most part, this is just going to be a study with me. But if you have any questions, just leave your questions in the chat. However, this is going to be muted because I have family and they're quite loud and distracting. So do be warned that this stream is likely going to be muted for most of the time. At the minute, it will be unmuted, but later on I might have to mute it. So keep that in mind. Now I'm going to check the audio real quick. Okay, so the audio is working. Right, so let's begin. So it says there's somebody in the chat. I'm not sure if that was just me checking my audio, but if there is somebody, so say hi in the comments if you're a real person, not just me. Or another two people, so definitely is. Right, so I'm going to get on with things. I'll tell you what I'm doing, and then when I finish something, I'll talk to you about it. But if you have any questions, leave them in the chat, and I'm happy to answer. This can be a Q&A and a study with me. Now it's Christmas time, so no pressure to join in. I'm just trying to be productive, and I might as well try and help other people as well. So yeah. So at the minute, I'm doing some further maths, some core maths. At the minute, I'm going through my notes and just basically summarising them into this kind of little notebook, going through the chapters of what we've done so far, and just making kind of summary notes of them. Because my further maths notes are not particularly nice, quite messy. So I'm going to go through them, make them nice. I'm also going to do that for pure maths, like normal core maths. This is further maths, but after I've done this, because I've nearly done it, I'm going to go to normal maths and do it for that as well. Okay. But for now, let's just go ahead and do it. Okay, so I haven't got my phone on me. It's near me in case of an emergency, but I haven't got it on me. So that's a little life tip I'll give you. Make sure if you're riding, don't have your phone next to you. Alright, so get any questions, just leave them in the chat. If not, just watch ahead and yeah. Okay, so where am I at? So I'm going to be trying quite quiet for most of the stream. Again, any questions, just ask. Right, so I'm going to go mute now because there's some background audio which I don't particularly want to get in the way. But I'll unmute when I need to talk or when if you ask questions. So yeah, don't be surprised if you can't hear me now. So yeah. Right. So talking again. Now I'm going to actually go against everything I just said and use my phone a second because I believe I've just spotted an error in this textbook and I'm going to check if it's correct now. Rule for sum of cubes. Because in this textbook, I believe maybe an error. I'm just going to double check. Okay, the internet's not much help. Now that's not going to help. I'm going to check my revision guide. So again, give me a second. This textbook, like the Pearson textbook for maths and further maths, tends to have quite a lot of errors in. So I'm just going to confirm before I write it down. I do believe it might be wrong. I'm going to go over what textbook says for now. Then I'll try and confirm it later, but I'm going to go with it for now. Okay, so I confirm my query. Yeah, the textbook was wrong, so we got to the end of that. Okay, so I finished our section of further maths. That was roots of polynomials. If you do further maths, you'll know that and what that is. But if you don't, then don't worry. Now I'm going to go into matrices. So far in further maths, we've done complex numbers, Argand diagrams, matrices. We don't have about halfway through matrices, so I can't do an awful lot of it. Matrices, proof by induction, and polynomial thing. So if you didn't do further maths, you won't have a clue what any of that means. But if you do, then well, that's what we do. So I've got a bit of matrices to do and then proof by induction. So then after I'm going to go into normal maths and just trying to get some notes done for that. So yeah. Actually, I'm going to come back to do those ones later. When I'm going to give matrices when we've actually done it in class, finished off, and I'm going to do proof by induction after that because matrices and proof by induction have quite a bit in common. There's a few bits kind of intermixed. So I'm going to do them later on. But for now, I'm going to go back to normal maths, do some of that. When I come back I might do the proof by induction bit later. But for now, I'm going to do some just core normal A-level maths. So that's out of the way. It says there's somebody in the chat. I don't have a clue. That's just like my technically doing the chat in the comment, not the chat, but you know what I mean. If not, then I don't know. If you're a person in the chat and you're hearing this and you're not just AFK, then just say hi. So it's done. Now my textbook for core maths. Well, not core maths, but just regular maths. I'm going to do this for the normal kind of pure stuff, and then we've done a little bit of statistics, so I'll do that as well. So let me just quickly get it away. Now, another little kind of study tip, if you're watching this after the stream, because nobody's here in a minute, well, these things are useful. I'm not sure what they're called, but kind of little sticky labels like this. I'll show you what I do. So I'm going to write, for example, chap 1. It's for chapter 1. So my little chap 1 thing. Stick it in the book, and now I can easily flip to it. I see chapter 1, I can just flip to it. Now, I'm actually going to change that because you can't see the 1. So, chapter 1. This is algebraic expressions. The first few chapters are fairly easy, so they're not going to take long. A couple of later chapters are a bit more intense stuff, so yeah. So this normal math shouldn't take an awful lot of time. Although we've done more, well, arguably in normal maths, we've done up to about here, down one of this, so this is the first page we've done. However, a lot of it is just GCSE stuff, so I'm not going to make too kind of high quality notes for the first stuff. So there we go. I've got my first comment. So Josh You've welcome. You're common on the channel. So I'm gonna give you a moderator actually because you got a lot. So welcome. So I've just been doing a bit of further maths. I'll go over what I've just done for you because you do further maths, so it might be useful. But now I'm going to go over. I'm doing normal maths. So I'm doing Keithy. I like to call you Keithy. I know this person for anybody watching. That's why we're talking quite informally. So for further maths, what I've done is I've got like a notebook. I've got kind of little sticky note things at the top for each chapter. I've gone over each chapter, making just kind of condensed notes out of the textbook. Now this is basically just copying the textbook, kind of condensed. Because I don't like reading through the text of the textbook and all that. So I've got mostly just here a bunch of examples. So I can flip through examples, kind of go recap real quickly. But I happen to go through the textbook. Also, this kind of sticky system. Just flick to whichever chapter you want and do it. So I've done up to on here. I haven't done matrices or proof by induction yet. I'm going to do those later. But yeah, I'm going to do the same thing for maths and statistics now. For normal maths and then statistics. But yeah. So as I said already, the first bit of normal maths shouldn't take too long because it's just GCSE stuff. I can just kind of skim it over. Then some of the later stuff is a bit more kind of I need to know what to do. So yeah, again, this is a study with me, but also Q&A. So any questions, just feel free to ask. And again, I'm probably going to get muted quite a bit, just stop like kind of background distractions. And a person's joined my chat, so welcome. Again, so I'm doing this bit of A-level maths, and if you have any questions, just ask. And if I go mute, don't think it's like glitched out or anything. I'm going to go mute properly. Anything like that, just ask. Is it worth typing up notes if I have no nice notepads? It can work. For like I do that for history, but for maths and further maths, it's kind of hard to type them up because there's a lot of symbols and stuff you need. So for maths and further maths, I like doing hand notes because it's just a bit easier. But for essay type subjects, for example, you do physics, I do history. So for history and physics and sciences, that kind of thing, typing up notes can be useful. But for maths and further maths, you've got lots of symbols, lots of kind of working out you need to do. I wouldn't recommend typing. I would recommend. You don't really need a nice notebook. You just get some like paper and kind of do some of these like for the further maths decision section. I did that. I just used paper because I think because decision isn't as kind of algebra heavy in that. Whereas I think for the pure stuff, it's more kind of you need a nice kind of set of clear instructions. That's what I've done in a notebook. But either way works. But yeah, for the decision stuff, I just did it on a piece of paper. I have a few pieces like piece of paper or two for each chapter and did it like that. There's lots of big diagrams and stuff you need in that, so I felt it'd be more useful than using a small notebook. But either way works. So I would recommend trying to get a notebook for especially the pure stuff because it makes it nicer to look at. Maybe you can't just use a piece of paper, it's fine. But this I'm keeping separate from all my kind of other notes. Here's what my normal maths folder looks like. It's quite chunky. And I've got all my notes in class, like class notes and exercises and everything from like what we're doing lessons and homework and that. However, this is going to be kind of like a separate one, just so I can go to anything I need real quickly, without having to go through that giant folder. Yeah. Okay, so algebraic expressions on. This stuff isn't particularly difficult. I'm gonna go muted. Just if you have any questions, just ask her. I'm gonna go muted though. So with this kind of pure stuff, like the first chapters, I'm skimming over it. I'm making like maybe one quick example. Example, this is just about factorizing. Just done a really just one example, nothing too intense. Now, if you're doing subjects like again maths, with early chapters, if you are confident you know it, you don't necessarily have to put like a load of notes into it. And for maths, notes isn't very useful anyways, because practice is better than notes. If I am making at least some sort of notes, just so I can kind of flick through them nice and quickly. Because going back over further maths, I realised I've forgotten like a lot of it. That's why I'm going over it again, make sure I know it all. Because after Christmas, we're doing like more harder stuff in further maths, so I'm making sure I know all the earlier stuff, so I don't have to recap it later. Because when it comes to just end of year exams, you want to be able to focus on the stuff you can't do. Whereas, like the early stuff I can do, I've just forgotten a lot of it. So that's why I'm making sure you recap it all, and that's what I recommend for all subjects. Recap, I think, on a fairly regular basis, especially for subjects with lots of content. For example, history, physics, French, like languages, and essay subjects, languages, that kind of thing. If there's lots of content, recap it regularly. And normal maths, I haven't really forgotten anything, but further maths, I've forgotten quite a bit. That's why I'm going over it, because further maths is a lot more conceptually heavy, so you need to actually know it. Whereas normal maths, just do it. Later on, I think it gets harder, but so far, first term of year 12, the maths hasn't been awfully difficult. So again, I'm not going to try and. I think it will get later harder. Yeah, harder later. That's why I'm focusing on make sure I know all fine now, and then when it does come to the hard stuff, I don't have to worry about going back to the easier stuff. That's kind of my philosophy here. I don't want to have to waste time going over stuff I can do just because I've forgotten it. You get what I mean? So yeah. Again, any questions, just leave it in the chat. I'll try and stay unmuted because I think the atmosphere is a bit nicer. But if a background distraction, because I've got quite a large family, I will mute it. I'm going to try and get back to things. Yeah, so what you said about making just kind of summary things, that's what I did for maths. I've gone through the textbook, kind of making a bit of notes on everything. I mean, at the end of that little chapter, I made a kind of summary page, just the kind of the important stuff. Whereas, like, I made a bunch of pages full of just examples and stuff, and then at the end of it, I made like a summary page with all the kind of key, like things you need to actually learn, like the facts and stuff. That's a good idea. Make sure you do, like, especially for normal maths, it may not be as important yet. Later on, it will. But for further maths, I would recommend make sure you've got some good examples down your back, like in your pocket, so you know what you're doing. That's what I'm doing now because I've forgotten a lot of it in further maths, especially. So that's why it is worth going through examples and writing them down. Don't just skim over them. Actually, like, write them down and make sure you understand them. Because if you just look at them and say, "Oh, I get it," you probably won't get it. You will just forget it. That's why writing down is more important than just reading. But yeah, if it works for you, go ahead. But I would recommend at least writing down a few of the hard examples. Like, I'm not going through the exercises at them and I'm just writing notes, but at least go through some examples. Yeah, that's fair enough. Going over some hard examples. Like for further maths, for normal maths again is not as important, but further maths, I went like such as Argand diagrams, for example. There's quite a few hard examples in there, so I did them all. There's kind of a lot of different things, so make sure you do know all the kind of nitty picky things because they can ask you a lot of different things. So I recommend doing like a range of examples just to make sure you know everything. So especially for further maths, where there's lots of different things they could ask you. Make sure I did quite a few examples. Okay, but yeah, for this first of like kind of normal maths, I'm not doing an awful lot of notes for it. I'm just kind of skimming through. I'm not really even doing summaries. When I get to the harder chapters, I will do that because the harder chapters do need more effort. These earlier chapters, just kind of recapping GCSE stuff. I'm not putting a huge amount of effort into these ones because I can do it quite easily. If you do struggle with A-level maths, I would recommend if you are struggling with it, go for the easier stuff, not the easier stuff, but the earlier stuff because it tends to be like the fundamentals. Because if you can't do the earlier stuff, you're gonna struggle with the harder stuff like later on. Like for me personally, I'm alright with the earlier stuff, but I know a lot of people do struggle with it. So for me personally, I'm not putting an awful lot of effort into the earlier stuff. I'm going to focus on the kind of more complex, hard things. But if you do struggle, make sure you prioritize. I can't speak the earlier stuff because if you can do that, then you should be able to do the hard stuff like a bit easier. If you can't do the early stuff, you're going to struggle with the hard stuff. So that's a nice little recommendation I would give. Now, for my notes in this, I'm using a textbook for it. However, a lot of people, the textbook isn't amazing. Like some of the examples are kind of not very good, and I call that mistakes. For example, in the first maths, I found like a mistake, so I had to go to the internet check it up. So it is always worth if you do question something in age, or check it up because the textbook, especially for maths and further maths, it can be quite unreliable. But for maths and stuff, like as long as I'm just making sure I'm making notes. But when it comes to like doing practice, I wouldn't always rely on the textbook because some of the textbook questions are quite easy, like easier than like normal, like we'd get an exam. So I recommend using the internet to find like past paper questions. Like for now, when I'm making notes, I'm using my textbook because the notes side of it, it's all right. When you're doing practice, I wouldn't recommend just relying fully on my textbook because it is quite unreliable. Has quite a lot of mistakes, and a lot of questions are kind of subpar. So just keep that in mind. Ooh, that took a while. I was struggling on a completion with square question, surprisingly. Got there eventually. Don't know why ever. It is question 2D, exercise 2D, question 2, part B. So 2D, question 2, part B. Got there eventually, but I just realised I just messed up a bit of algebra there. Took me a while to see where I went wrong. So I'm just doing a few examples, and I picked a few kind of exercises just to stick into the example kind of section, and that one took a while. Yeah. So exercise 2D, question 2, part B. You want to check it out. So 5x squared plus 8x minus 2, 1.
Is anybody in the live?
Yeah, that's what I got. -4 plus square root of 26 divided by 5, yeah. Okay, now I'm definitely going to be on mute because I have a distracting family member in the background, so yeah. Yep, agreed. Yep.
What does he say?
Darla Angus, welcome to the chat. Now, what message did you type? Moderator, because why not? Okay. Now, I may end up. You can both be mods, don't worry. Right. For a minute, I'm going to put some headphones in just because I'm going to try and block out some background noise. Okay, so stop being so aggressive in the chat, boys. I'll have to demod you both. And I'll ban you both. So stop being so aggressive. Okay, but yeah. Normally, I wouldn't recommend listening to music if you don't have to. But I'm going to not only music, but kind of sound cancelling because annoying people in the background can be annoying. So if I would recommend trying, if you can't get sound cancelling, just things to stop background audio because it can be annoying. And now, if you guys would stop arguing, that would be nice. So yeah. Now I can debunk you both if you're going to continue arguing. Okay. The distraction has been eliminated, so that's good. Got rid of it. So now, if you mind mods stop arguing, please, and do something productive with our lives, that'll be useful.
Pashy weapons allowed.
Life tip: if you're going to do well in your exams, I would highly suggest selling your family members, especially younger ones. They can be very distracting and can sabotage your entire career. Just saying. Now, there are ways of getting around it, but most people say try and avoid distractions. Well, sometimes that isn't possible. So what I would do in that case is, like, again, I wouldn't recommend normally if you can avoid having phones near you. But if you have to, so just if there is an annoying family member near you, I would recommend just putting some sort of noise cancelling like music on or something. Not like rock or lyric. Don't have anything lyricy or nothing like rock or anything loud, brass, whatever you call it. Just something kind of calm, but trying to like cut out the noise. I'd rather listen to some like soothing like study music than some annoying people in the background. So that's just a little life tip. If you can avoid all distractions and all music, but if you like, for example, family members, if you is this impossible to avoid them, then I would recommend using some sort of headphones and like some sort of music. Again, nothing like loud, explosive music. Classical music can typing in study music, and there's usually like some good study music, which works. But anything works. But again, if at all possible, avoid distractions, get rid of family members, anything like that. But if you're like me, where you have a ton of siblings, then it's impossible. So I would recommend using some sort of like noise cancelling headphones or something like that. But yeah. Any tips to remember function names? So what function names? Like domain and that kind of thing, or what? Domain and range. Not particularly. Like the range is like the output, I believe. So the range is like the things it could be. So like a range of things. I'm not too sure, to be honest. I've never had to come across domain and range in an actual question before. But the textbook only really just skims over it. So I'm not actually particularly sure what we need to know about it because textbook, as I said earlier, the textbook can be quite lacking. So if you do need to go on the internet, find some more resources about domain and range, I might do that later. Within the textbook, I literally just very quickly skims over it. I saw on the internet somewhere that the domain and range is it has come up in a question, and they didn't have a clue to do it because the textbook was very insufficient in going over it. So I would recommend just quickly Googling or like watching a couple of YouTube videos about it. I've done that myself like a while ago. I looked at a few. I found a YouTuber called TL Maths. TL Maths. That is quite a good YouTuber. Went over it quite well. But because the textbook it very briefly goes over it. So if you want to go over it again, I would recommend Googling TL Maths on YouTube. Not Googling, but searching them up and having a quick look at some of his videos. But I'm not particularly sure what we need to know about it. I might want to look at the specification, actually. I might do that later. Check specification. Then my textbook isn't very useful in terms of that. No problem. Yeah, TL Maths is a good YouTuber for like a good YouTuber for any kind of maths topics. It's got an entire normal maths, statistics, and mechanics course, and it's done quite a bit of further maths. I found the further maths one useful for when we're doing like Argon diagrams and complex numbers. It's quite useful one. So go ahead, check them out if you want to. It's quite useful. Cool. I'm not too sure how long the stream's gonna go on because my internet is acting up. It's like it says connection, kind of poor connection, so it might end up going out any minute now. So I'll keep going as long as I can. But the internet is having a few problems. But yeah, it's kind of annoying. My internet's not particularly good. It's quite a lot of people in my house, so using all the internet. So yeah, I'll go as long as I can. But the internet might die off, and family members might just get in the way. I might just end up just start studying on my own about a live stream because yeah, just family. You know, like if you have a family, you know how annoying they can be. Yeah, so if you have to go, it's fine. Yeah, I'm going to try and stick as long as I can. But my internet is saying like poor connection and stuff. So my just like last time I tried the live stream, it just died like about an hour and a half in. I mean, like an hour and a half in, something like that. So wouldn't be unsurprising if that happens again. But hopefully it didn't die. Yeah, my internet when it comes to live streaming isn't the greatest. That's why I don't live stream an awful lot. And when I do live stream, the video just like deletes itself afterwards. So it's not particularly good for the channel. But I'll go as long as I can. I just quite like it because it helps me stay focused. However, I'm trying to worry about the internet, family distractions, muting all. That can be quite distracting. So perhaps live streaming isn't the best option. But we'll see. So going back over this kind of earlier pure math stuff is kind of a tedious and annoying because a lot of it is completely pointless going over because you know it quite well, but then there's some little nitty bits in there which I have forgotten. So I do need to go through everything go through it all, make sure I do remember it, which is kind of annoying and a bit tedious. So because you know most of it, however, there's like one or two little bits in there which you don't know, which is so you do have to go through the entire thing. Bit of a pain, but you know, worth it. It's a vision. So yeah, now for you kind of what I'm planning on doing after I've done this. So after I've done all these notes and stuff, again, maths notes aren't particularly important. That's why I'm just doing a few examples from each chapter and then going on. I'm not actually writing pretty much anything. I'm just doing a few examples. After I've done this, I'm probably going to move on to again this live. I mean, I've done the maths and we're in the live stream, because I'm going to need my computer the next bit. Because I'm going to do some history and then maybe some French. Because maths, I'm just doing maths. When you're doing maths, it's just making the notes, like written stuff. Whereas other subjects, like it's harder. I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah. So what I'm doing next, yeah. How far am I? I am on to the simultaneous equations and graphs. Chapter 1, I just skimmed through. Like I didn't do very much because most of chapter 1's quite easy. Chapter 2, I've done a little bit more. Chapter 3 is where I'm doing a little bit more again, because chapter 3 is where I did worse than my test in terms of like the little mini test we did. So make sure I spend a little more time in chapter 3 because it is important. And most of it again isn't difficult, but there's a few kind of little bits here and there which are annoying. I'm not looking forward to chapter 4, the graph one, in the slightest. Oh. Connection unstable. Don't know if you can hear me right now. My screen's frozen. You can hear me say hi. Like my screen, like my camera's frozen, just waving, but it's not working. Okay.